my name is Sonia Redwine. I oversee the RISE Center. RISE Center stands for Recovery and Intervention Support and Education. We oversee all of the substance use education on campus. So talking about alcohol and drug prevention, harm reduction strategies, making sure that students have the information they need to make informed choices, kind of meeting the student where they're at. We do this through sure referrals, so student can self-refer. Sometimes they are sanctioned to come meet with us. And so again, our role isn't to be punitive in nature, it's to be educational in nature. Talking to them about their experiences and doing some activities with them to get them thinking about it too. In addition to that, we do community-wide events. So this week is Collegiate Recovery Week, so we've been talking about that. This month is Alcohol Awareness Month, so we've been trying to do some things, some different orgs around campus this month, and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So we've been partnering with our Title IX folks, Office of Health Promotion. Hello, do I need to let them know?
No, that would be.
Okay. So I want to make sure that, people understand that connection between alcohol and drug use and sexual conduct, particularly sexual assault. There's a high correlation there. So making sure we're talking about, when we talk about consent, that we're including a discussion about alcohol and other drugs. In addition to that, we oversee our collegiate recovery program. So working with students in recovery from mental health or substance use concerns. So just overall a good resource to know about on campus. Trying to connect students, in recovery with each other, because sometimes being in college can be tough if you're in recovery, right? You're exposed to a lot of different other inputs that says you should be otherwise. And so making sure that they have that community and fit here on campus. Today, I've been asked to talk to you about Naloxone is the generic name. Narcan is the brand name. Tell me what you know about it. Tell me why you think this is a conversation that we're having. Talk to me.
I think that to help folks that are going through an overdose, I believe, and just kind of not really prevent it because it's already happening, right? But it's just them.
Yeah, absolutely. So naloxone is an opioid antagonist drug, and so specifically targeting individuals in an opioid overdose. So why do you think we're having those conversations here on campus? Yeah. So we've seen a huge rise in the number of opioid-related overdose and deaths here in the United States. Here in Texas, we've seen that. Actually, I think that might be the next slide. There we go. The state of Texas, state of Washington saw the biggest increase in 2022. So, yay for Texas, leading the pack. I'm being sarcastic, actually. That's not good. We don't want that to happen. In Texas, 5 people died every day from fentanyl. And so fentanyl, you may hear about it in the news, is a very potent opioid. You can be prescribed fentanyl for different things, but what we're seeing is it being introduced into other substances, laced in other substances. So a buyer may not know that they have a product that has also been tainted with fentanyl. And so we're seeing an increase in overdose related to that. Among our target age group here at UNT, 18 to 25, unintentional injury, which includes overdose, is the #1 cause of death in this age group. So it's really important that we're having these conversations and informing individuals about what it is, what to look for, and how to respond in the event that something happens or you're around something. So this is how much, right? 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be a fatal dose for individuals. And so it's a very, very small amount. And so when we talk to students, we make sure we, not trying to, put a lot of fear, but making sure that we are creating a little sense of urgency about why this is important. We typically do this activity. So, if you're looking at this, which one do you think this is hydrocodone, so a pain reliever? Which one do you think is the prescription drug? Which one do you think is the fake one? Which one do you think is the fake pill, the blue one or the yellow one? The yellow one is the fake pill. So very good. Y'all are all living right now. right? But you can see how similar they are. I mean, besides the color, right? The markings are the same. You know, it has the 30, which would be kind of the dose, right? Amount that you're getting. So it's very, very similar. This is an example of Xanax, which is an anxiety drug, anti-anxiety medication. Sometimes people will take that not under the prescription label. And so here, which one do you think is the fake pill? The white one or the yellow one? You're gonna go the white pill? Okay. You're gonna go yellow? Anybody else? We're 50-50 right now. Yeah. You're going white?
Oh, no, I can't.
Oh,
It
okay.
looks great.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is kind of gray. But not yellow. Maybe it's the most appropriate piece, right? So in this one, the yellow one is the fake pill. Again, just trying to highlight that that's difficult to tell. This is the Adderall. And so which one do y'all think is the fake one? The one on the right or the one on the left? The one on the right is the fake pill. And the only way I know that is because all of the ones on the right are the fake pills, right? So if you figured out my pattern there.
Okay.
But again, to highlight to students, right, it's really difficult to tell a lot of times. And so just because your best friends, cousins, boyfriends, I don't know, dog, no, I don't know, but like dog walker, right, gave that to them, it doesn't necessarily mean it is manufactured, you know, by a pharmaceutical company, and we should be taking that. And so we're really trying to educate students about the use of or misuse of prescription drugs, and to make sure that we know where we're getting our drugs and how to dispose of them correctly, right? The importance of not sharing and those types of things. And that's where we see a lot of the fentanyl overdoses, is these drugs get laced with that to heighten the high, but it could be potentially fatal. So signs of an overdose, an opioid overdose is very similar to alcohol. They're both depressants, right? Pain relievers are depressants. And so you may see unusual sleepiness or unconsciousness. The breathing is going to be shallow or absent, right? Slowing down our nervous system, slowing down our heart rate, slowing down our respiratory system. So we're not getting enough oxygen to our extremities. We may start seeing nails or lips a blue color because they're starting to become hypoxic. They're not getting enough oxygen places. Their skin may feel clammy or cold. The one difference between alcohol overdose and opioid is looking at the pupils. So with opioid overdose, the pupils are called pinpoint pupils. They're very, very small. And so you have to be intentional, right? You're having to lift the eyelid and actually look. The good thing about Narcan in particular is that it is a safe drug, so it doesn't matter what type of overdose it is. It's not going to harm someone who is not experiencing an opioid overdose. It's not going to help them, but it's not going to harm them, right? It's only because it's an opioid antagonist, it's only going to respond to an opioid. So how we use it, and I gave you a handout on that, and I have some boxes for y'all to take back with you. And I'll just pull out one of our expired ones. So if you've ever used a nasal spray, you know, Flonase, Nasonex, allergy season, you know, probably familiar. It's a single dose. So you do the plunger and that's it, right? Don't do it in the air, do it in the nose. Make sure that, you know, they're getting that. We're going to roll them on their side. Make sure we're elevating their head with their hands, not on a pillow. So in case that they aspirate or they vomit, they don't aspirate that, right? So we're trying to reduce as much harm. And we're going to call 911. Particularly with fentanyl, we're noticing it's requiring more than one dose. So if they don't immediately respond within 2 to 3 minutes, go ahead and administer the second dose. And there's always 2 doses that come in a box. It's pretty, we've done a lot. Public health has done a lot to make sure that we have Narcan and Naloxone available to folks. You can now buy it over the counter. So don't need a prescription for it. You can buy it at your, you know, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, wherever you like to go. Costs about $40 to $50. So it's, it can be cost prohibitive. And so we're trying to make sure that folks have access to it if that is a barrier. We don't want that to be a barrier. We have begun an initiative. So here on campus, all the AED machines are stocked with a box of Narcan. And so in the event that someone needs it on campus, or, risk management is checking it regularly. So let's say someone decides they need it, they take it with them, right? We'll make sure it gets restocked. If you don't know where your AED machines are in your building, you can go to the risk management website, actually look up AED machines, and it shows a map, and you can find your specific building, what floor, where it's located. We encourage everybody to know where those are located. Additionally, we have them available through the Rise Center. We're located in Chestnut Hall 301. And so that's available for any member of our community. We get them through some community resources. So we want to make sure, again, cost is not a barrier for people who want to carry this around with them, that they can. Any questions or thoughts? Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're using an expired thought here. What is the lifeline? Like the lifeline?
Yeah, so most of the ones that we get, like our most recent one, I believe it's a couple of years. Yeah, this one's good until October 26th.
Oh,
So 2026. So they typically have a pretty good shelf life. We want to make sure we're keeping it in a cool, dry space. You want to carry it with you, right? We don't want to just leave it in the car. It, like most things, when it gets too hot, it's going to start breaking down and be ineffective. The other thing about Narcan, you can still use it up to 6 months after the expiration date. Again, the potency may diminish, but if that's all you have, then, we want you to go ahead and use that. So yeah, good questions here.
Is there an age limit for purchasing it, like at the CVS or?
No, that's a good question. That I don't know the answer, so I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know if it's 18 or not.
how would you be able to use that on somebody like a high schooler that might, okay.
Yeah. So we're protected under Good Samaritan law. So if we're rendering aid, and again, because it is specific for opioid receptors, like if you're not experiencing that, it's not gonna harm you. So that's one of the really cool things about this drug compared to some others, right? There's literally no negative side effects if it's not an opioid.
Are there any factors that increase someone's possibility of needing more than one dose when like they're not responding to the first dose?
Yeah, usually it's because it is a more potent form of an opioid. So like I said, I've even heard reports of having to use like 5-6 doses for someone. And so you can also get it in an injectable form, so kind of like an EpiPen. But most people are scared of needles and nervous about having to poke somebody. So this is the easiest way to do it. So yes, I mean, as soon as you use it, you do want to call 911. If you are, we have amnesty policies on campus for students, so we want them to be that active bystander, rendering aid, even if they maybe be under the influence themselves, right? We have those policies on campus to encourage them to act proactively, and know that that's a much easier conversation than having to, notify parents of an adverse outcome. The other thing is we do have laws in Texas to help individuals also, like for alcohol, it's the 911 lifeline law. For opioid overdose, it's something else, not quite as strong as that one, but there are some legal defenses that you can use if you're rendering aid and you have opioids on you as well.
Now, is there a form or anything that students have to fill out if they go to the Rice Center to get this, or they should stop by?
No, they can just stop by. I mean, we just generally card swipe students as they come in, but it's not going to say for Narcan or anything like that, right? They're just a visitor to our office. And then if we table or something, and we have some available, they can come pick it up. Yeah, good question. As advisors, right? How to have these conversations with your student groups, right? Again, and what I tell sometimes parents during orientation, we have a lovely Narcan box and they're like, why is there Narcan? And I'm like, no. Our role is to be proactive. We know that we can't be with them all the time, to make sure, they're all making the best choices and decisions. And so we want them to be our proxies, right? We want them to have the information. We want them to be aware of these different scenarios and situations that might happen, aware of the policies on campus, amnesty policy, being comfortable calling first responders to come render aid. And so by, if they have a big event coming up, that they're doing a retreat, something like that, incorporating some of these risk management conversations with them. And we're happy to help in those conversations as well. Just to get them at least talking about it and becoming more comfortable in those conversations, because we know that a lot of students didn't have these conversations growing up, right? And so this might be their first time being in an environment where it is a more comfortable environment. They're not feeling judged or, uncomfortable asking those questions. And so we try to make it as easy as possible. Any other things that maybe, Amanda, did I touch on everything you wanted me to? Okay. Anybody else have any other questions for me?
Besides fentanyl, what are some of the other examples of opioids?
So codeine, hydrocodone, typically most of your prescription pain relievers, can have an opioid in them. Illicit drugs would be heroin, would be one. I will be honest, that's not something we see a lot of on our campus, right? We're more likely to see maybe prescription drug misuse than we are some of the illicit drugs. And even that, we're not seeing a whole bunch of that compared to alcohol and cannabis. But we want students to know, and we want to make sure they know like interactions of those can be really, really harmful. And so we try to encourage students, if they choose to use that, they stick to one or the other. What other questions?
Are there any resources or services that you can offer student organizations in terms of education or collaboration?
Yeah, so they can always reach out to us. Our contact information is on that flyer. They can reach out to us, schedule a time to come and present. I know I talked to one of the sororities this week, came in and did a presentation. We usually partner with UNT PD because they have cool things that we don't have, and some of the more like, well, hypothetical questions. What if I'm in the car and I'm not smoking, but someone else is? Right? They get very specific in their hypothetical questions. And so they can help address some of those things on the legal side. But we're happy to partner on any events or upcoming things that students have. Yeah, and encourage that. We want to be out there. Hopefully I didn't bring down the mood on this Thursday after lunch. I know that's tough. But yeah, if y'all don't have any other questions, I do have a little QR code. If you get a second to complete that, that would be helpful. Just to give us feedback, make sure we're providing good information in a format that's helpful for you. And if not, then we can jazz it up a little bit more. I mean, we could reenact something if you wanted to. Pass out. Individuals particularly at risk, if you know someone has been receiving prescription pain medication, sometimes they'll also prescribe or recommend Narcan for them just in case, because we know they're just highly addictive drugs. So that population particular risk. And then, like I said, kind of our age, the age group that we have here on campus, our younger demographic tends to be particularly at risk.